Have you ever noticed something strange about your cat? Not just the way it sleeps in impossible positions, or the way it suddenly sprints across the room for no reason, but something more specific, something almost intentional. Imagine this moment. It's late at night. Your house is quiet. The lights are low. Somewhere in the room, a glass sits near the edge of the table. Nothing moves. Nothing happens. Then suddenly, your cat appears. It jumps onto the table with the kind of silent precision only cats seem to have. No noise, no warning, just a soft landing. The cat begins walking slowly across the surface of the table. Step by step, its eyes lock onto the glass. For a moment, everything seems perfectly still. The cat stops beside the object. It sits down and just stares. A long pause. Then, slowly, the paw rises. Tap. The glass moves slightly. The cat freezes, watching carefully. Another tap. The glass wobbles again, this time a little closer to the edge. The cat leans forward, curious. Another gentle push. And then, crash. The glass falls to the floor. The sound echoes through the quiet room. But the cat doesn't run. It doesn't panic. It doesn't look surprised. Instead, the cat calmly leans over the edge of the table and watches the fallen object, studying it, observing the result, almost like a scientist reviewing the outcome of an experiment. If you have ever owned a cat, you have probably witnessed something like this. In fact, you have probably seen it many times. Phones pushed off desks, pens rolling off tables, keys sliding off kitchen counters, remote controls mysteriously disappearing from coffee tables, sometimes even full cups of coffee crashing onto the floor. To many cat owners, this behavior feels strangely deliberate. It's almost as if the cat knows exactly what it's doing, which raises a fascinating question. Why do cats knock things over? Are they being mischievous? Are they bored? Are they trying to get attention? Or is something deeper happening inside the mind of a cat? To answer that question, scientists who study feline behavior have spent years observing how cats interact with the world around them. And the answer begins thousands of years before cats ever lived in human homes. Long before sofas. Before kitchen tables. Before glass cups sitting near the edge of anything. The ancestors of domestic cats were wild predators. Small but incredibly efficient hunters. Even today, domestic cats share almost the same instincts as their wild relatives. Biologically speaking, your house cat is still a predator. It may spend its day sleeping on a soft couch. It may eat food from a bowl. But deep inside its brain, the instincts of a hunter are still alive. And those instincts are triggered by one powerful signal: movement. In the wild, cats rely heavily on detecting motion. Small animals like mice, birds, and insects rarely stay perfectly still. They twitch, they run, they dart across open spaces. For a predator like a cat, movement signals opportunity. But movement also signals uncertainty. Not every moving object is safe to attack. Some prey may fight back. Some may escape quickly. Because of this, wild cats developed a fascinating behavior known as predatory testing. Before committing to an attack, the cat often taps its prey with a paw. It pokes. It nudges. It watches carefully. The goal is simple: to see how the object reacts. If the prey moves suddenly, the cat gains important information. It confirms that the prey is alive. It reveals how the prey might escape. And it activates the cat's powerful hunting instinct. This testing behavior helps the cat make decisions before attacking. Now think about the objects that exist inside your home. A pen sitting on the edge of a desk. A glass wobbling slightly on a table. A small object rolling across a smooth surface. To you, these are just ordinary objects. But to a cat, the situation might feel very different. The cat taps the object. The object moves. That movement triggers the same ancient instinct that helped cats survive in the wild. Another tap. Another reaction. The cat watches carefully, and eventually the object reaches the edge and falls. From the cat's perspective, the experiment produced a fascinating result. Movement happened. The environment changed. The object responded. But instinct alone does not fully explain why cats seem to repeat this behavior so often. Because there is another powerful force influencing the cat's actions: curiosity. Cats are among the most curious animals in the world. Researchers studying feline cognition have found that cats spend much of their waking time exploring their environment. Unlike humans who primarily use their hands to interact with objects, cats rely heavily on their paws. Their paws are extremely sensitive. They can detect tiny vibrations. They can feel small changes in balance. They can sense subtle textures and movement. When a cat touches an object, it is gathering information. What is this object? Does it move? Does it react? What happens if I push it? Sometimes the answer is dramatic. The object slides. The object rolls. The object falls. And when something falls, something interesting happens. There is motion. There is sound. The environment changes suddenly. To a curious animal, this reaction is fascinating. In a way, your cat might simply be running a small scientific experiment. Push object, observe result, repeat. Curiosity like this is actually very common among intelligent animals. It allows them to learn about their environment and adapt to new situations. But there is another layer to this behavior that many cat owners never realize, and surprisingly, that layer involves you. Cats are very good at recognizing patterns between their actions and human reactions. Think about what happens when your cat pushes something off the table. You immediately react. You look at the cat, you say its name. You stand up, you walk toward it. You pick up the object. From the cat's perspective, something important just happened. Push object, human reacts. Push object again. Human reacts again. Over time, the cat begins to understand the connection between its actions and your attention. And attention is a powerful reward. Even negative attention can reinforce behavior. If pushing an object causes a human to interact with the cat, the behavior may become more frequent. In other words, your cat may have accidentally trained you. But there is still one more factor that scientists believe plays a major role in this behavior: boredom. Wild cats spend a large portion of their day hunting, stalking prey, exploring territory, and solving problems in their environment. Their world is filled with challenges. But indoor cats live in a very different world. They sleep. They rest. They wait, sometimes for hours. Without enough stimulation, cats begin to create their own activities. And sometimes those activities involve experimenting with objects around them. Tables become playgrounds. Shelves become laboratories. Objects become tools for exploration. Gravity becomes part of the game. Push the object. Watch it fall. Observe the reaction. Repeat. From the cat's perspective, this behavior is not destructive. It is engaging. It creates movement. It creates sound. It creates interaction with the environment. It makes the world more interesting. So the next time your cat slowly slides something toward the edge of a table, take a moment before getting frustrated. Your cat is not trying to annoy you. Your cat is not plotting revenge. Instead, it is acting on instincts shaped by thousands of years of evolution. Instincts built around hunting, curiosity, exploration. To your cat, the world is full of questions waiting to be answered. And sometimes, the easiest way to answer those questions is with a single paw, a gentle tap, a small push, and the fascinating moment when gravity does the rest. Because, for cats, a falling object is not just an accident. It is the result of instinct, the result of curiosity, and sometimes simply the most interesting experiment in the room.